Matatu strike and the outrage that we have seen since morning up until now. Of course, that is Meru County earlier on, where there were lit bonfires as well as, barricaded roads, even as Kenyans protest the fuel hike that we saw during this June cycle by the EPRA. Now, of course, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka says that now this is a crisis and that transport and the disruptions and the rising fuel cost, of course, has to be tackled by the president. He says that now this situation is attributed to recent government policies which point to the fuel price increase that saw petrol rise by 16 shillings and diesel by 42 shillings. The situation across most parts of the country has been controlled, tensed as well. So let us know, how is your area at this particular moment? For some time in Meru County, we did see the barricades, the police presence, as well as bonfires that were lit, even as the Matatu drivers, as well as a section of Kenyans, went to the streets to protest the rising fuel prices that they say now affects them even to the littlest, which is the cost of even mboga as well as unga. Now, of course, President William Ruto is yet to respond to this particular crisis. CS Mbadi saying that the fuel prices will remain as it is for this particular June cycle, and that EPRA should have communicated better to Kenyans in regards to the fuel prices that has now sparked outrage across the country. And, Matatu owners saying that they will only tackle this particular issue once the government sits down with them and reduces the price of fuel. We are seeing that in some areas there has been about a 50% hike on the Matatu fares. As one of the views that we got here is that, one was used to going to work with 40 shillings and now has used 100 shillings today, which that is about more than 50% a hike in the fuel prices. Of course, now opposition leaders, who include Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, are calling for stakeholders in this transport sector to have action immediately into the situation and the crisis that we are seeing. That on your screen is Kisii County. Earlier on, just, businesses and normal operations going on, even amid the total breakdown and total halt of the public transport, even as residents continue to face the brunt of the particular fuel hike protest that has continued. Of course, this comes just 3 months after the US-Iran war, which the government attributes this particular global tensions to the rising, ever-rising, prices at the pump. It is the historic, price shift and jump from, 200 to 214 for petrol in Nairobi and 242 shillings of diesel. And of course, top officials, that includes CS Energy Opiyo Wandayi as well as CS Treasury John Mbadi, just saying that the prices will remain as it is and calling on Kenyans and of course the Matatu owners to be a little fair to them and stop the particular nationwide strike that we are seeing, as they say this could lead to another paralysis, of course, of the economy. And this anger that has been sparked, of course, by the fuel hike that continues to press many Kenyans. We would like to hear your feedback and your reactions on what have you experienced today. What has the situation been around you? Have you seen, motorists, some of these cars being torched? Have you seen some of the, barricades, some of this, bonfires on this particular roads? How has the situation been? In Mombasa, we just saw that the situation was very calm, collected, and of course, controlled by the heavy police presence and even still by the lack of the Matatu protest that we did see in the earlier hours of this particular day. That that has been the coverage of the outrage of the fuel prices hike in Kenya. And of course, we continue to gather and stay on the radar of what is happening across all 47 counties with our reporters stationed every particular corner just to see what the situation is, and by nightfall what the situation will be looking like. Will there be deliberations that will lead to a solution and so avert a crisis like what we have seen this Monday tomorrow? And of course, we would be getting you up to speed on that. Stay with us. Of course, more updates at 4 p.m, at 7 p.m, and 9 p.m. I am Sheila Chelangat, and of course, do enjoy the rest of your viewership.